it's very important as creatives, right? We have that back and forth. It could probably
Exactly.
should probably give you some new ideas, different perspective on how to perform the character, portray the character, I should
Exactly.
say.
Exactly.
Um, but I've never been to an acting class. Well, I should say I did once an acting class with Rain Dance Toronto. But can you kind of take us through what someone would experience going through an acting class? Like, what are the techniques you learn or the lessons?
So yeah, I guess it's all it's all very different for every different class. But for this class, she focuses a lot on nailing the auditions and nailing the self tapes. So what happens is that during the first class, we kind of go through all the techniques that would be very helpful for nailing an audition, nailing a self tape, creating a. I think she pulls a lot from Stella Adler, and
Mhm.
it's all about like knowing the character, knowing the backstory behind the character, creating the whole life for your character, which uh, you would pull from that during your audition. And then after the first class, we're assigned scenes that we work on every week, different scenes every week, and then we perform them in class, and then we get constructive feedback after performing it. And I think usually we're between 6 to 10 in the class, so we just spend the entire class watching each other's performances and getting constructive feedbacks for each of the performances. So that's
Yeah,
really what it is.
nice. That's very similar to my experience that class I took, those 3 sessions, and it was very nerve wracking for me. And I wanted to ask you that, or I wanted to tell you that takes a lot of courage. Um, how was
Yeah,
it
yeah, it
when you?
does.
Yeah,
It does.
how was it that first experience though? Like in 2018, when you took these classes, were you
I
nervous or are
was
you
so
really
scared.
confident? Oh yeah.
I, I was so scared. I always went. I tried to always go last, but Danny was in the class as well, so Danny always went
All right.
last. So I was always second to the last. It was nerve wracking. I was so scared. And then there are all these other actors, actresses in the class. I was like, God, these guys are all killers. Like these guys are so good. So it was really hard to not compare yourself to other people. But then, you just keep working, keep getting constructive feedback. Like there's a lot of things that I I've watched my tapes from before, and I'm like, wow, like I've come a bit since then. So pretty grateful for the Actors Work Studio.
That's great, man. Yeah, it's important to keep practicing your craft and be persistent at it. And I know you've had some trouble too, especially with the lockdown. Were you able to still go to these classes, or probably not, or couldn't do them over virtual?
So we actually had them in person from September to October, and then everything got locked down again.
Hmm.
So we finished it over virtual. But then the new session that we're doing is self tape intensive, and it's all virtual. Like we're not going to perform in class over self tapes. We're going to send in self tapes, and then we're going to watch the self tapes in class. And she brought a couple casting directors or monologue slam judges and all that who are going to watch the tapes with everyone and give constructive feedback for each person. So should be exciting.
Yeah, I saw the monologue you posted the other day on Instagram and commended you for it. It was really good, man. It
Thank you.
to show that vulnerability. It's important, right?
I'm
Um,
glad. I'm
to keep
glad.
going, yeah, for your
I
craft.
almost I almost didn't post it. It took me like a lot of my friends told me, man, you better post this. You better post it because I was not gonna post it.
Well, soon everyone's going to see your face with this film. We'll discuss further about Cracked that we collaborated on
Amen.
because you're the
Yeah.
lead, bro. You're the face
Yeah.
of the project,
Yeah.
and it's important, yes, to just believe in yourself that way and give it a shot because people like myself or anyone that's interested in filmmaking will see that and be inspired to do the same for themselves, right?
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard. It's very easy to get imposter syndrome and
Of course.
think I'm not good enough or I shouldn't be doing this and all that. But the thing about life is you never give up, right? Like you would never succeed if you never try in the first place.
Yeah.
And so you just gotta keep pushing, 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 pushing. Life is an endless push against
Challenges,
challenges. Yeah.
obstacles, people telling you it won't happen. Just Circumstances, really. For me, the big thing is social media, right? As creatives, it's so easy or so tempting. You go on one of those hashtags, you put in your caption, and you just see like people that are doing other works, right? And
Yeah,
it's normal to feel, oh, I'm not doing as much, or maybe I'm not as good. But I think what I take into account, and what you also take into account, what we told each other, is you got to look at your own journey, your own path, and
yeah,
see how far you've come yesterday, right?
yeah,
Because you
yeah,
don't know where they're coming from, and you don't know where what they were born into. You don't
yeah,
know who they knew, right? Because that
yeah,
plays a huge push. If you ever hear the success stories, there's always that one guy or woman that helps a person along the way or puts them
yeah.
to another point, right?
Yeah, and it's very hard, especially like on social media. If you follow, like, since I started acting Toronto, like I kind of follow a lot of other Toronto actors and actresses, and it's funny because you see them getting booked, you see them doing jobs, you see people that are, I would say, on the same people that are on the same kind of journey with you. You see them doing great things, and it's kind of hard not to compare yourself. But like you said, you always got to remember, like, everyone's journey is different. Everyone's obstacles they face are different, and what it takes to overcome everyone's obstacles are also different as well. So, gotta just not compare yourself.